and welcome to another K-Will Learning Center video presentation. In this video presentation, we will explore how to draw a floor plan of a building that has an irregular shape. And by an irregular shape, I mean that the building is not square nor rectangular nor as an L shape. Let me show you the building in question. This is a sketch of a one bedroom dwelling. Now this has a double carport. It has a living, dining and kitchen area, a laundry room, one master bedroom with its walk-in closet and bathroom that is enclosed. We also have a pantry connected to the kitchen, and we also have a half bath that is otherwise called a powder room. So in the event there's a guest who wants to use the bathroom, they would have no need to enter the master suite. So this bathroom provides some level of privacy for the occupant of the dwelling. Now, we can approach this building by starting at any corner. Now, when I am drawing, I normally choose a corner from which to start. Now, the building has multiple corners. It has an upper right corner, it has an upper left corner, a lower left corner, it has a right corner, lower right corner. It has multiple corners. I normally choose the lower left corner, but it is up to you whether you want to start here or any other corner. These corners you can also start here, but it is simpler to start at one of the main corners, which I would start at the lower left corner right here. Normally when we're starting at a particular corner, we proceed to firstly draw the walls that meet at this corner. Now there's a horizontal wall here. Well, all walls go up vertically and they run horizontally, but from a bird's eye view, this is going left to right and this wall is going north to south. So this wall right here, from a bird's eye view, it's horizontal. This wall right here, from a bird's eye view, it is vertical. Right, so the wall that separates the kitchen from the front outside, this is one wall that meets here. Then you have another wall that runs up. That wall separates the laundry room, the walk-in closet and the dining and the kitchen area from outside. Now those are the walls that I'm going to draw first. Those two walls I'm going to draw first because they meet at this lower left corner. Please bear in mind that you can start at any corner. I'm just choosing this corner. Now, if you notice on the drawing, there are some measurements. Now, this drawing is referred to as a line diagram because the thickness of the walls are not shown. One line is shown and that line is representing the wall. Now, for this exercise, I'm going to use a wall thickness of 150 millimeters for the entire building. So whether the wall is external or internal, I'll use 150 as the wall thickness. Now the measurements you see here, these measurements are the distance of the spaces between the walls, right? So for example, this wall here and this wall over here, the distance between these walls, the distance is 3,900 millimeters. The distance between the front wall here, where the mouse is, and this wall that separates the laundry room from the dining area, that distance is 7,800. So those distances, I'm going to use those distances to assist in the process. Now, if I add up all these distances at the side here, you would not get the overall length of the building. This is a common mistake made by some persons when they see a line diagram like this. This is due to the fact that the walls would have their own measurement. The thickness of the wall, which should be also considered in the measurements. So what I normally do, I normally add up these measurements just as a guide. And when I'm drawing the walls, initially I would draw them longer than the measurements that are here. For example, 7,800, let me use my calculator for a bit. 7,800 plus 2,550 plus 2,700 would be equal to 13,050. The building is longer than that due to the fact that the walls are in between the room spaces. These measurements are just a combination of the room measurements. They don't factor in the walls. So when I'm drawing this wall here, I would just simply draw a line that is longer than 13,000. Let me type 14,000. Think that should do the trick. Once I've drawn that line, and I normally like to move it out of the way of the axis. So this line is 14,000. It can be even longer. Let me just bring it up a bit more. I can stretch the line. Normally, after drawing that line, I would proceed to offset it at the thickness of the wall, which is, in this case, I'm using 150 millimeters. At this point, it doesn't matter which direction you bring it, because it's not being done with respect to any room. All right, so this is the thickness of the wall. This is the lower left corner here. I'm going to proceed to draw the other wall. Now, the wall would be a little bit longer than 3,900 because you have the wall thickness over this side and the wall thickness over this side. So the outside of the building will be longer than this measurement. So I'm going to draw a line that is longer than 3,900. Let me go even 5,000. It doesn't matter, because the extra length will be trimmed off eventually. I'm going to proceed to also offset this line to show the thickness of the wall. So now these two lines represent this wall right here, while this wall right here is represented by these two lines, right? It doesn't matter if these lines are longer than the measurements shown here. It doesn't matter. If it is shorter, to some extent it doesn't matter. It just means that you would need to extend them later. Rather than doing that, I have extended them from the get-go because I find that trimming them is easier. Now, once you have the lower left hand corner of the building, I will now proceed to start by drawing the other walls that would enclose these rooms. The dining and the kitchen is located in the same space, bounded by the same walls. All right, so if you notice, this wall, the distance between this wall and this wall here is 7,800, and the distance between this wall and this wall is 3,900. So this square that represents both rooms, the dining area and the kitchen, is enclosed. The length of that room is 7,800. The width of that room is 3,900. And if you notice, this wall goes all the way up. Additionally, this wall goes all the way up, right? So this is what I am going to do. I am going to measure from here. This is the inside of the building now. So I'm measuring from here, measuring in this direction, 3,900. And I'm drawing a line that represents the other wall over this side here. Now the thickness of that wall is 150 as well. And I'm going to ensure that I offset that to the right, because I want to maintain the 3,900 millimeter space between the walls. If I had offset it to the left instead of to the right, the space between the walls would have been compromised. Now it's 3,750. So rather than offsetting it to the left, I'm offsetting it to the right. A rule of thumb is the same direction that you measure in, that's the direction that you offset in. And if you notice on the building now, you'd see this wall, and I would have to trim off the excess wall. There are multiple ways to do it. You can just simply pull down this line to intersect so that you can now use the trim command, right? So this is the trim command being used to trim up um, the walls. You can do this before at this time that I'm doing it, or you can do it eventually further down the line. So what I have here is this wall, 3,900. If you notice, the actual length of this here is 4,200 and not 3,900 that is shown here, because this 3,900 is just showing the measurement inside. Now 7,800, that's the length of the room. I'm going to now proceed to measure that. Now you can just put the cursor here, track the measurement up, and then you have your 7,800, and that stops here. Then you go ahead and offset in the same direction. I measured up, I'm offsetting up. Now if you go back to the drawing, you realize that this wall goes all the way across. This wall goes all the way across. 4,800 plus 3,000, that's about 7,800. So I'm going to extend it a bit further than that. I can go as far as 11,000. It does not matter, because I'm going to eventually trim what I don't need. In doing these types of drawings, you have to actually observe the walls carefully to know which walls to extend and which walls not to extend. Now, I'm at this point. If you notice, there are two more rooms here, the laundry room and the walk-in closet, which are bounded by this wall and this wall that I have already extended. So let me observe those measurements, 2,550 and 2,700. So I'm going to measure 2,550 for the laundry room, that's the width. And since I've measured in an upward direction, I'm going to offset in an upward direction so that I don't compromise the space between the walls, right? I'm going to do the same thing once more. 2,700, and then I'm going to offset 150. All right, at this point, you notice I have some extra walls here that I don't need, so I can trim them. If you look at the diagram here, the wall does not extend beyond the walk-in closet. I am going to show you something here. If you notice, this wall extends beyond the walk-in closet. It also serves for the wall as the master bedroom, the master bathroom, and the double carport. If you add those measurements, for 4,800 plus 3,000 plus 600, you would end up around the ballpark of 13,800. What I normally do, without even considering the measurement, I just estimate and extend. Most times when I extend, I don't need to extend further, I just need to trim. Now you can trim off the excess, pulling this so that it intersects, so that the trim command can be enforced. Now, building is slowly starting to take shape. One of the things that you can do to more quickly draw the building is to pay attention to the walls that borders multiple rooms. For example, this external wall here is serving for 3 rooms. This wall here is serving for multiple rooms. So I'm drawing the longer walls first, and then the shorter walls later. You don't have to do that, but I find it that it's easier that way. Now, right here, I have the bedroom. The north to south measurement of the bedroom is 5,400. The east to west measurement is 4,800. That measurement is not there as yet, so I'll just measure that, 4,800, and bring that wall down. That wall also extends beyond the room, and I'm offsetting in the same direction. Now if I look down here now, you're going to see that the living room also uses that wall. And the north to south measurement for the living room is 4,500. So I'm going to measure that 4,500. Once I do that, I know that this wall stops here. And let me offset the measurement. I measured downwards, so I'm going to offset downwards to maintain the distance between the walls. Now let me look on the drawing again. This wall also extends beyond the living room, so I'm going to extend it a bit. It also separates the passageway from the foyer, or the porch from the foyer rather. Let me look carefully. Yeah, no, it separates the porch from outside. Yes. So this is where I'm at so far. Now below the living room there is the pantry and the half bathroom, and the distance, the north to south distance between the walls that bounds the room is 1,500. So I'm going to measure 1,500, and I'm going to offset that downwards since I'm measuring downwards. Now there's excess wall here that I need to trim. Alright, so if you notice, the building is taking its shape nicely. Now between the pantry and the bathroom there's a wall. So the pantry, the space between the walls, the east to west space between the walls for the pantry is 2,400. Now I'm going to measure that 2,400, and I'm going to offset in the same direction that I've measured. I measured from east to west, I offset east to west. Alright, so now this measurement here, based on the measurements here, I'm left with 2,550. Alright, so now this side of the building is complete, and you have the eastern side of the building. Now from north to south, yeah, in this section, this wall is on one side, this wall is on the other side. Now the master bathroom is first, 4,050 north to south. Then there's a little passageway, 1,200. Then there's a foyer area, it is not labeled, 1,950. I hope you can see that. And then the porch is 2,400 right here. Now I am going to insert all those measurements. All those measurements, if you notice, from east to west or west to east, whichever you want to call it, all the measurements for those rooms are 3,000. The master bedroom, the passageway, the foyer, and the porch. 3,000 millimeters from left to right, or from right to left, east to west, west to east. Now you are going to measure 3,000 and bring that line all the way down. I think it stops here. I'm going to also offset it. Now, let me check again. The 4,050 would come down here. I'm measuring from the space. I'm not measuring from the outside, I'm measuring from the inside. 4,050, and it stops here. Then I'm offsetting 150 downwards. Automatically I should have the 1,200 space here. And then I'm going to check the foyer space now, which is 1,950. I'm measuring from here because you can't measure from the other side because I can't measure through the wall. The space is from wall to wall. Now this is 1,950 and it stops here. Then I'm going to measure or offset 150 in the same direction that I've measured. Now this is the foyer, this is the porch. Let me see what we have here. So this space should be 2,400 that is remaining. Alright, now what should we trim here? There's no extra wall here, so we can trim this off. There are some more trimmings that need to be done, so let me go ahead and do that. This needs to be trimmed, this needs to be trimmed. The wall that separates the porch from the foyer, this wall is extended and it forms the boundary for the garage or the carport. So I'm going to extend this wall, extend this wall. right? Once I've done that, I'm now going to consider the east to west measurement, the left to right measurement for the double carport, and that is 6,000. Now I can go ahead and measure 6,000. And there you have it, 6,000. If you notice throughout the exercise, I've paid no attention to the windows and doors because the windows and the doors are in the wall. We pay attention to those after, right? So we ignore all windows, all walls, all openings. These dotted lines represent openings in the walls. I have not considered those as yet. I'm going to save that for another video. So we are focusing on the walls. The doors, the openings, the windows, they are all in the walls, right? So we draw the walls first, then we focus on those after. Now, if we look at the building and the sketch, you realize that you have basically the same thing, right? I just have some trimming to do. So I'm going to just trim this area where I made a mistake. When you're trimming, you have to ensure that some intersection is taking place before, because you trim the wrong thing. Now this is what I have, and before continuing, it is always good to trim out these spaces. The walls should meet. In real life, the walls are tied together, so you have to trim these spaces before you continue, right? So before going any further, I'm going to do this to show you. Ensure that you get everyone out of the way before you continue. It is very, 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 very useful to do so. So I'm going to get all of them out of the way now. All right, so after doing this, we're going to move on to putting in the doors, the windows, and the openings, and this will be done in another video. I don't want the videos to be too long. All right, so I've trimmed out all the walls so they are meeting like this, right? There should be no lines separating the walls. You shouldn't see any lines like this. You know, everything needs to be trimmed out. Now, before proceeding to enter the windows and doors and openings, I'm going to make a copy of this building. I'm going to highlight it, select the copy command, and select a base point, which can be on the building or outside of the building. I'm going to choose outside of the building, and you move that building with respect to the base point. The reason why I'm copying this building, I'm going to use this to continue the floor plan. I'm going to use this copy to be my foundation plan. You can make multiple copies. The foundation plan doesn't consist of the windows and doors, and you don't want to be deleting doors and windows after you've entered them over here. It would take up some time. So rather than waiting to put in the doors, then making the copy, you can just do it ahead of time so that you don't have to be deleting or undoing what you did to create the foundation plan or the roof plan or whichever other plan you would need a skeleton of the building for. Now, this is just the walls of the building. And once you get the walls out of the way, a lot of the work is complete. Right? So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video that will demonstrate how to insert walls, openings rather, windows and doors for a plan of this nature. Have a good day.